Hey guys, it's Shara from Woodshop Diaries, and with the holidays just around the corner, it's time to share some more fun and easy DIY gift ideas. I've been doing these DIY gift idea videos for several years now, and they're always a lot of fun. This year I have quite the assortment of options that I hope you'll enjoy, and I tried to keep them budget friendly and quick to build because I know that spare time is not usually in abundance this time of the year. Just like last year, I've teamed up with my friend Katie from Houseful of Handmade and Annika from Annika's DIY Life, and they're each sharing their 5 gift ideas over on their channels today as well. I will link both of their videos in the description below, but if you're ready to dive in, let's make some gifts. This video was sponsored by my friends at Lean. This first gift idea is a great one to use up some wood scraps and to get a bit creative. Before heading to the shop, I found a music note symbol and I copied it into Microsoft Word. Then I cropped it into 2 sections and printed it out quite large. Obviously, this would be a fun project for anyone who loves music, but you could also do this with quite literally any shape that you'd like. A dog, a cat, a sports team, a car, whatever. Once I cut out my music notes, I traced them onto a scrap piece of 1x12 pine. You could use any wood that you wanted for this, but a softwood is going to be a little bit easier to cut. After I cut these out with the jigsaw, I sanded them smooth. Then I spray painted them black. While the paint was drying, I grabbed a piece of scrap white oak about the size of a 1x4 and I cut 4 small pieces, 2 about 3.5 inches and 2 about 4.5 inches long. But of course these can be bigger or smaller to fit whatever shape that you're cutting. I carefully glued these up into pairs to make the bookends. After the glue had dried, I applied a little wood glue to the music notes and carefully placed them onto each bookend. After the glue had dried, I wiped on a little walrus oil furniture finish to bring out the color of the wood, and just like that, these personalized bookends are ready for gifting. So the fun thing about this project is that you can personalize it for whoever you're making it for and whatever they're into. I actually made myself a set of these in the shape of a guitar about 9 years ago. It's been one of my all-time favorite scrapwood projects over the years. These bookends are a great way to give something simple but personal to just about anyone on your list. To make these personalized gifts even more fun, I enlisted the help of the Lean PixCut S1 photo sticker printer and cutter to make some custom gift tags. This all-in-one printer and cutter goes from in the box to fully set up in just a few quick steps. Once it was powered on, I just downloaded the app, connected, and started designing custom tags for my projects. One of my favorite things about the PixCut is that it can print stickers with your own photos. I always like to give a little credit to the shop pets, so I took a few photos, used the background remover tool, and added some text and a few extra details. And in just a few minutes, I had created some very cute and somewhat comical gift tags for these projects. Once I was happy with my designs, I sent it to the printer to print and cut. It's pretty fun to watch it print out on one side, then when it's finished, you can watch it precisely cut out the sticker on the other side. You can add these directly to your gift wrap, Christmas cards, or cut some wood tags to attach them to. And even if you don't want to use your own photos, the app has hundreds of pre-made designs and templates that you can choose from as well. And the PixCut isn't just for stickers, it also is a photo printer. Simply swap the sticker paper for photo paper and you can print high-quality photos in just seconds. This is a great way to make your own Christmas cards to include with your gifts. Check out the video description for a link to the Lean PixCut S1 and to learn more about how you can use it to help make the holidays or your next project a little more fun. The next gift idea is something else that could be personalized for anyone on your list. For this one, I needed a piece of 1x4, a scrap piece of 1/2-inch plywood, and a piece of plexiglass. I only needed the 1x4 to be long enough to wrap around my plexiglass, so I just kind of guesstimated the length and trimmed it a little longer than I thought I'd need. I adjusted my table saw blade height to about 1/4 inch, and I adjusted my rip fence so that it would cut about 1/4 inch from the board edge. This slit is where the plexiglass will go, so I made sure that it fit. Then I adjusted the saw again so that it would cut 1/2 inch from the other board edge. I just used my plywood to help position my cut. Then I adjusted one more time to notch out this back corner. After I sanded, I adjusted my miter saw to 45 degrees and cut 4 pieces to fit around my plexiglass piece. By the way, you can make a shadow box just about any size, and you can find a lot of size options of pre-cut plexiglass at the big box store. Once I made sure my plexiglass did in fact fit, I glued up my box, making sure to install the plexiglass into the slot. After the glue had dried, I removed the painter's tape and sanded away any glue residue. Then I cut my plywood to fit into the back. You can paint or stain this piece however you want, but I painted it black for some extra contrast. I also applied some oil to the box and cleaned the plexiglass. Once everything was dry, I carefully screwed the plywood into the back of the shadow box at each corner. Shadow boxes typically hold sentimental items, so things like dried flowers from a wedding, a medal or award, maybe an old jersey or a flag. Sometimes even photos or trinkets from a trip. So while the box is universal, what you put inside can be customized for whoever you give it to. I actually plan to keep this box as a gift to myself, and I want to add a pair of my grandpa's glasses and some photos of him. But I don't have everything ready yet, so for now I just added a few things from my college days for staging. You get the idea. This next gift idea is a bit more involved, but it's such a fun kid-sized project. I started by cutting 2 pieces of 1/2 inch plywood large enough to make a decent sized canvas, and I painted them with chalkboard paint. While that dried, I cut down some 1x2s to make the frames. Now, there are several pieces here, so I've included a link to the building plans with all of the dimensions in the description below. I'm going to build 2 frames. One of these frames has legs a little longer than the other, and the reason is because I wanted to notch out the top for a place to hold a roll of paper on a dowel. So I marked and drilled a hole to fit the dowel on each leg. Then I notched this out with a jigsaw. This doesn't have to be specific, I just notched it in a way that it would hold the dowel securely in place. Then I assembled the frame using pocket holes and screws. The space for the top piece was a little tight, so I had to remove and reattach this piece. Oops. Once one frame was together, I assembled the other one, this time with the shorter legs, so I installed the top support flush to the top. I kind of fit these pieces together to see how it looked, then I stained them separately before installing the chalkboard canvases. I wanted there to be a little space between the supports and the canvas, so I used some 1/4 inch plywood scrap spacers on the frame supports while I screwed in the plywood on each side. After I got both chalkboards into both frames, I attached them together at the top. I wanted this easel to be able to fold flat when it's not in use, so a piano hinge here worked perfect. Now I needed to add the storage tray. So I cut some more 1x2s and a piece of 1/4 inch plywood to build a small tray that would fit between the legs of the easel. I stained each piece first, then I glued and nailed them together. And here's a friendly reminder to double check your nail length before using your brad nailer.
These nails were supposed to be 1.25 inches. I did not check before I nailed, but they are not 1.25 inch nails.
After I trimmed and smoothed that out, I laid the easel on the workbench and placed the tray inside at the bottom, like you see here. This is not really super technical, but I measured up from the bottom of each leg about 15 inches or so and drilled a hole in the middle of the 1x2. Then I countersunk a hole there and drove a screw so that it was snug but not tight. The tray should still be able to pivot. I stood the easel up on the workbench and placed another 1x2 support on the opposite side as the screws. I just used a level to help me position so that the tray was level, and I secured this piece with pocket holes and screws. Now, I didn't want this easel to slide out of position, so I cut and glued some little scrap strips on the bottom of the tray as stoppers. So these will kind of lock the easel in place when it's open. And once the glue is dry on the stoppers, this adorable little easel is ready for gifting. Because there's an intentional gap left between the chalkboard and the supports, you can easily slide the paper roll through to hold it in place. Or you can just skip the paper roll and draw directly on the chalkboard. This art easel was super fun to build, and I love how quick it is to set up and how easy it is to put away. The next gift is quite a bit simpler and just requires a small piece of scrap wood. For this first one, I used a piece of pine 1x8. I used a paint can and a straight edge to help me trace an oval onto 1/2 of my board. Then I used a jigsaw to carefully cut this out. Once it was cut, I trimmed my board in half, then I sanded everything smooth, especially the inside of the cut because it's going to be really hard to sand that after we glue this together. I glued the cut half of the board onto the not cut half of the board, and I made sure to remove any glue squeeze out on the inside before it dried. Once it was dry, I used my Craig Multimark tool to draw an offset from this inside edge. I offset it about 3/4 of an inch, and in hindsight, that was kind of a bit chunky, but it's fine. Then I cut this out with the jigsaw. This is obviously not perfect, but that's okay because that's where sanding comes in. I worked my way from 80 grit to 220 to smooth out all the edges, and I used the sander to kind of round them over. Then I finished it with some oil. I actually enjoyed making this so much that I did it again with a piece of walnut that I had. Same concept, just this time I made the offset much smaller for a thinner lip around the edge. My poor jigsaw blade was pretty well shot after this, but it turned out pretty nice. These little trays are great gifts for anyone and are the perfect place to toss your glasses, keys, coins, and accessories. The cool thing about this project is that this exact same concept can be applied to any size or shape that you want. Several years ago, I actually did the same thing to make a large pumpkin tray and a leaf-shaped tray. So this is a really fun project to get creative with. This last gift idea is one that I'm actually making for my dad. I made myself one of these several years back, and I thought it would be helpful for Dad to corral his hat collection. I used a piece of wood that I took off an old project and ripped it into 1x2s to build this with. That's why it's already stained. For these, I cut 4 long and 4 short pieces. 2 long and 2 short pieces will go on the bottom, and then the others will go on the top. I went ahead and stained the edges of these pieces to match the existing color, and no, I didn't stain the back. I probably should have, but it's fine. Dad's not gonna mind. Then I separated the top and the bottom pieces. On the bottom pieces, I measured and marked where my pegs will go, and I've linked the plans for this below with all of the dimensions. So I've separated my 1x2 pieces into 2 pairs. So each pair has 2 long pieces and 2 short pieces. These will go on the back. The other pieces, just like it, will go on the front. And then I'm going to use 2.5-inch wood screws through the back side to attach everything together. So in order for this hat rack to move like an accordion, I want the holes in my back pieces to be bigger than the screw, so the screw just kind of drops into it. So I'm going to find a drill bit that is just a little bigger than the screw. Then I drilled holes at all my marks. For the pegs, I cut 10 pieces of 7/8-inch dowel to about 3 inches long, and I spray painted them black. So here are the 4 pieces that I have not drilled a hole in, 2 long and 2 short, and I've marked the same locations where I did drill the holes. I've marked those, but I'm not going to drill holes on these just yet. I want to glue the pegs on first. I carefully glued each peg so that it was roughly centered on each mark. It doesn't have to be perfect, just close. After these had dried, I laid out my pieces kind of upside down so that the pegs faced down and the back pieces, the ones with the holes drilled, were on top. I found a drill bit just slightly smaller than my screw to drill pilot holes through the holes in the back pieces. Then I carefully drove 2.5-inch wood screws into the pilot holes so that they were tight, but then I just backed them out slightly. This allows the pieces to stay snug but still able to move. I did this for all 10 holes, everywhere there's a peg, and I attached all the end pieces first before coming back and securing the middles. Now, this accordion rack can be hung vertically or horizontally, but I plan to hang this horizontally, so I attached 2 D-hangers to the back. And with that, this simple hat rack is ready to hang. The cool thing about an accordion rack is that you can adjust them as wide or as narrow as needed to fit the space that you have available. This is a fun gift for anyone, but would work really great for people like my dad who have way too many hats for their own good. And that wraps up all 5 gifts. I hope you enjoyed watching these come together, and I hope it gave you a little bit of inspiration to help you tackle your gift list this season. Don't forget to check out Katie and Annika's videos as well for even more ideas. I have linked them both below. For now, I would like to thank you guys so much for watching and to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and until next time, happy building.